I think we can start. We've got a quorum. Can I now invite the administration in? Good morning. So, this is the Subcommittee on Building Minor Works Amendment Regulation 2013 and the Buildings Legislation Amendment Ordinance 2012 Commencement Notice. We have the Deputy Secretary for Development, Mr. Chang Wai-yun, and then PAS for Development, Mr. Chu Pit Meng. And then from the Buildings Department, we have the Deputy Director, Mr. Hui Siu Wai. And then from the DEVB, we have Senior Counsel, Mr. Lai Kai Pang. And then Senior Building Surveyor, Madam Ju Yun Man. And then also from the Buildings Department, Mr. Tam Wing Chung. And then also from the Buildings Department, Mr. Chung Kam Yin. And then Assistant Secretary Development, Madam Chang Ho Ying. So welcome. I believe members have already received the government's response to comments and questions raised during the meeting on the 19th of June. The Chinese version was issued earlier and the English version has been tabled. So, let's now deal with this paper, Government Response to Major Comments and Questions Raised during the meeting held on the 19th of June. Mr. Wu Chi-wai. Yes, Chairman. And I would like to say something about page 7 of the Chinese version of the paper. It is said that the Buildings Department will inform the OC or notify the OC in a timely manner with regard to erection of signboards. But then, if there is no substantial effect on the common parts of the building, or should I put it this way? Now, if the signboard will substantially affect the common parts of the building, then the BD will notify the OC. So, in other words, this is not an automatic procedure. In other words, you will not notify the OC in every case that a signboard is being erected. Is that right? And then we are told that, in fact, in recent years, 200 to 300 signboards have been erected. So in all those cases, that you inform the OC that a new signboard had been erected or was being erected. So who can give an answer? Mr. Chong. Yes, I thank Mr. Wu for his question, Chairman. Now, concerning signboards approved under the minor works regime, if the signboard is erected in a common parts, and of course in most cases will not inform the OC. But then if the signboard is affixed to the external wall and is above the podium level, If we have information about the OC or the property management company, we will notify the OC or the management company. But then the applicant may not know whether the signboard is in the common parts of the building. So most applicants do not know whether the signboards are in the common parts of the building. When an application is received, our colleague will study the relevant documents. And in fact, in the form, there are also columns to be filled in by the applicant concerning whether there is an OC, what the management company is. So we do have a verification system. But if the applicant doesn't include the information about the OC or the management company in the form, and if our colleagues fail to detect such cases, then there may be such cases, but in most cases our colleagues do require the applicant to provide such information. If we know that there is an OC or a management company, then we will notify the OC or the management company. Now, the contractor, I believe, may not be too aware of whether the works are carried out in the common parts of a building. And owners or OCs may not be fully aware of their rights despite publicity by the government. Now, as you're going to, as there will be an approval procedure for a signboard to be erected. So will you, as a standard procedure, inform the OC that there is this there is this project, and the OC should take whatever steps it thinks fit. So it's important that such information is passed on to the OC or to the management company. In fact, I have suggested the idea of prior approval. Of course, I understand that this is by no means easy, but then I think at least you should make it a standard practice to notify the OC or the management company of the works, and then it's up to the OC and the management company to decide whether they want to exercise their rights under the law. Now, in fact, sometimes without knowledge of the works, if they do not know that there are such works, they are not in a position to exercise their rights under the law. And I think it's important that the information is passed on to the OC or the management company. So this is Mr. Wu's comment, but here we're talking about Mr. Wu is talking about newly erected signboards, but it seems that this point is not directly relevant to what we are dealing with in the regulation. Yes, I understand, but I think it's not a bad thing if we can incorporate such a standard procedure in the practice notes.
Mr. Chen, I thank Mr. Wu for his suggestion. Yes, maybe, as the Chair has said, for newly erected signboards, that's the concern of Mr. Wu, but we'll still give consideration to the idea. Who else would like to ask questions? Ms. Ho. Mr. Chairman, usually government departments would adopt a compartmentalized mentality, so they are not aware of what each other is doing. So I'm talking about the abandoned signboards. So probably this is not related to the scope of amendment under the regulation. However, judging from the reply you gave to the deputations, once again it shows that government departments do not act as a single government. Without communication among government departments, we have abandoned signboards. Signboards have been erected without notifying you, and then sometimes the signboards are not built to the required standards, and so they have to be acted upon. There are two types of unlawful signboards. First of all, the structural requirements are not met. They are not in line with your code of practice. The second type is those that haven't gone through the approval procedure. Since there is a deadline, so they would never become lawful. Now, first of all, let me take a look of the 5-year period. Let's take a look of your fifth reply. It has been said that when shops close, signboards will be left on their own, and so they will deteriorate more quickly. So you think that a 5-year period will be more than right. Why don't you do the following? In theory, for a business to be closed, the business operator has to approach the business registration, and they can then be reminded that they should take down their signboards. But of course, I know that not all the business operators would do this, but still, for business registration, it is done on a yearly basis. So why don't you sort of ask the business registration office to refer the information to you so that you can act more quickly instead of having to wait for a 5-year period? Now, for the point picked up by Mr. Wu, now you say that the property rights belong to the owners. But then sometimes the abandoned signboards are left unattended to because of confusion over the ownership. So I think among the government departments and among different laws, I think you just add an element of communication, and then you don't have to wait for 5 years before you discover its existence. Who can answer this question? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chung. As to the question asked by Ms. Sit Ho, we did give consideration to it, because since year 2011, we have set up the signboard control office, and in fact, we have asked our colleagues to channel all the information concerning signboards to us. We have got 6 divisions from A to F covering the entire territory. They would be responsible for emergency services. Say if we are notified by a committee that there is a dangerous signboard or abandoned signboard, we'll go there directly to have a look. In the case of dangerous signboards, we have to be there in 2 hours' time. Now, once legal action has been taken or law enforcement action has been taken, then the divisions would then refer the matter to our database. So even within the buildings department, we are fully aware of the information pertaining to approved signboards and abandoned signboards. As I have mentioned, there was a stock-taking exercise, so that all the unauthorized structures are recorded, and we are undertaking an analysis, and this would cover the signboards. In other words, once we have got the information, it means that we are in the picture. In the case of closure of business operations, well, it may be due to different reasons. It may not necessarily be a case of poor business. Sometimes maybe the rental is high, and so they have to be relocated. So I don't think we can master all the information through business registration. Well, yes, they can expand their business, and they may have to move to a larger premises. What I'm trying to aim at is to ask you to pass information among yourselves so that you include this item in the checklist. not everybody will tick the box, but at least will take the initiative to get the information. And then, Mr. Chairman, understand that, say, for example, in comment number 3, in fact, this is in relation to your questions. The government has referred to a large number of annexes. I have to be frank with you, I know nothing about it, so when we reach that point, can the administration explain the forms to us? And then for the technical guidelines, for the practice notes, I just wonder whether they should be given a place in the principal ordinance. Well, sometimes a signboard is as large as a small flat in terms of the area, and it extends from a building. I don't think we should simply take a photograph of it. I think we should demand a layout plan as well. But of course, the administration will say that they are within the guidelines, but we haven't got it in the principal ordinance. So what is the statutory role of the guidelines? Thank you, Ms. Ho, for raising this point. Well, in fact, I have intended to follow up on this matter. Last time I asked for the templates for the technical guidelines as well as the templates for the prosecution. So I share the concern of Ms. Ho. So administration, perhaps you can briefly walk us through the various documents. I think you can address the questions that we have asked previously. Say, for example, in the application form, would you remind the applicant to inform the property owner, and we should be mindful about possible effects of light pollution. For the purchase note, we've been told that the technical requirements are already contained in the purchase note, and they would be too detailed for inclusion in the principal ordinance. But still, I hope the administration can take this opportunity to explain to us as to why you think that you are taking the right approach. Will a reader be directed to any particular documents by reading the ordinance, so that applicants know that they have to supply the relevant information? I think that's the point in the mind of Ms. Ho and other members. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will ask the BD's colleagues to assist us when we explain the various annexes. I thank Ms. Ho for her question. And then let me answer the second part of the question of Ms. Ho as to why such documents are not included in the principal ordinance. For the building safety in Hong Kong, we always have a 3-tier system. First of all, we drop a framework in the form of a principal ordinance, namely CAP 123, the building ordinance, and then we have subsidiary legislation to set out the details as well as the technical requirements. And we have the third tier, and we have given a copy to you, and they are the administrative documents like the practice notes, among others, for the reference of the professionals in the sector, so that they know about the latest technical requirements. All along, such a hierarchy has worked for a long time and has worked well and smoothly. It is a mature system, so I believe that such a organization is something that such a structure should be sort of retained. So maybe the BD can be asked to elaborate on the forms and the purchase notes. Who can walk us through the documents? Mr. Chong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Ho, for her question. Yes, let me briefly talk about that. And SC01 being the first one. So The first one, the location of the signboard. And then the second point, details of the inspected unauthorized signboard and alteration strengthening works. So we'll be reminding the applicant of the details to be included here. Description has to be included here. If alteration or strengthening works will be carried out, then it has to be explained here. So it is the same as the notification or the notice for the minor works. If they need alteration or strengthening, they may raise this with us in this part. And then turning over the page, particulars of the signboard owner. Now, the applicant may not necessarily be the signboard owner, so the information about the individual or the company has to be given. Such information will be included in our database. And then contact details or correspondence address. So in future, if the owner's corporation or other related persons would like to liaise with the applicant or the owner, then such information will be referred to them. And then in the case of a company, we need certain certificates. And fourthly, owner's corporations. As we've mentioned, such information has to be supplied to us. The fifth point, particulars of persons appointed by the signboard owner. So we're referring to the professionals or the registered contractors. This refers to Class 1 works. It's only Class 1 works would involve the input from professionals. So we want to check whether they have been registered or not. That's in relation to the fifth part. And then, turning over the page, declaration of the signboard owner. This is a declaration to say that the owner undertake to maintain the signboard, and when the applicant or the signboard owner is to cease to operate the business, then they should notify the buildings department. The seventh paragraph, declaration by the person who arranged the works. So who will be engaged to do the work.
And then page 5, part B, confirmation of appointment by the appointed person and notice of inspection and certification. So we have the appointed person or the authorized person. He may be a structural engineer. And then over the page, say if it depends on whether it's tier 2 or what. And then if the signboard is in the common parts of the building, then information should be given to the OC or to the management company, and the contractor or is also reminded to take out third-party insurance. And also we also remind the applicant about the personal data, the collection of a purpose of collecting the data, and then B and C notes to help the applicant complete the form. Yes, and then SC02. Chairman, can I ask a question about SC01? Yes. We are referred to Part 6, Declaration of Signboard Owner, and it is said that he undertakes to do certain things when he ceases operation. sometimes the operator may not cease to operate the business. It is just that he's just moving to other premises. So will you also cover the scenario here? And what if he doesn't notify the buildings department when he moves out? Chairman, this is the part on declaration, and we can't really include too many details here. And for the time being, we don't have any penalties. So we'll regard the signboard as an abandoned signboard. And if we can't contact the owner, we'll commission a government contractor to take it down. But of course, if we need to issue a demolition order, then a fine will be imposed on the owner. So if it's not a dangerous signboard, then a demolition order will be issued to the owner. But then if the owner defaults, then we will commission a contractor to demolish the signboard, and we'll take prosecution action. And if the signboard is dangerous, we'll demolish it immediately, and we will impose a fine on the owner. Ms. Sit Ho suggested that this company or this owner may not be ceasing operation. It's just that he's moving to another shop or another location. So the owner may say that I haven't ceased operating the business. The signboard is still here to advertise my business, but it's just that the business is now getting bigger and bigger, and I need to move to a bigger shop space. So I think you should also cover the scenario in this part. Yes, Chairman, I wish to clarify. So, as the declaration to be signed by the owner or the contractor, the owner. Which page, please? SCO1, Part 6. It's page 4/6 of Form SCO1. That's page 4/6. So, concerning plans, calculations, so is it that there are clear guidelines as to what information needs to be provided by the applicant? All right, so let's move on to SCO2. SCO2 applies to signboards falling within descriptions of Class 2 minor works. And then SCO3 applicable to Class 3 minor works. Like Class 2, there are no professionals involved. But then for Class 3, we do allow the owner to make certain arrangements. For Class 3, as they are very small, and so the strengthening works will only be of a small scale, and so usually the works will be found to be acceptable. SC01C. Now for SCO1, we allow the applicant to carry out some strengthening works when necessary. So there is a need to give a notification, and we need to be informed 7 days before the strengthening works, and then the strengthening works can be carried out. Now we are worried that certain signboard owners may carry out strengthening works and then apply. For example, the signboard is very big, too big, and then he may apply for approval. So SC01C, the information required include location and address of the unauthorized signboard, the contractor involved. So after we've received SC01C, we'll check the form against SC01. And we'll see whether the certification should be approved. And then SC02C, as the signboard is smaller, there is no need for professionals to be involved, and the contractor can fill in the form. But of course, if a professional is involved, then he will be filling in this form. And so we have these designated forms for the applicants. What about SC03C? Now, because these are class 3 signboards, and so they need not because the strengthening works will only be of a small scale, and maybe in most cases those strengthening works are required. Ms. Ho and then Mr. Wu. 01 and 02 concerning the appointed persons. Photos and descriptions. Photos alone are not enough. And then concerning doing the design, taking into account structural elements. In fact, the appointed person is signing here to show that he is willing to shoulder all the responsibility. Is that right? In fact, under item 2, we have some instructions, but the person, the appointed person, can provide further information on a blank sheet of paper, and we have to have the technical guidelines. So it's that he has to refer to the technical guidelines, not because there are plans, there are other things, and so and of course photos, and so all these are supplementary information. And we hope that when the form is submitted to us, all the relevant papers can also be submitted. Then it is said in the confirmation that the form SC02C will be submitted upon the completion of the strengthening works. Yes, if there is a need for strengthening works, then we need to be informed in 02C. Because for strengthening works, in fact, they need to give us the information under 02 or 01. Now, I'm not saying, Chairman, that the applicant has to include everything in the form, but you've already mentioned here plans, photos. So concerning the plans and everything? Can you just say that all such information should be submitted to the Buildings Department? All right, I think we can deal with this when we come to the technical guidelines. Now, in fact, this filling in the form is like going through a checklist. The applicant needs to know what information he has to provide. Now, here, I think it's important that he can confirm that he knows what to hand in and he has already handed in the plans and details. Now, in fact, in the matters to note, we make it clear that all parts of the form should be filled in, the form should be signed, supporting documents should be enclosed, including photographs showing the physical condition of the premises before the commencement of the works, prescribed plans, and prescribed plans will appear in our technical guidelines, and also details of the works. So for class 1, they are works of larger scale, and so we've got this reminder in the notes. Now, I think the arrangement is acceptable. The requirements are in the form, and then there are technical guidelines. And in fact, under B3, it says, all documents submitted under the simplified requirements will be randomly selected for audit check, with a view to ensuring that the works have been carried out in accordance with the Buildings Ordinance and regulations and the submitted prescribed plans and details. I believe the requirements should be clear to the applicants. In fact, the applicants include the owners as well as the technical people. Mr. Hui? Now, those who fill in the forms are registered contractors or the professionals, and they do have the technical guidelines and the practice notes. And that's why we in the form we merely mention photos and description. But then what was meant by description, that's detailed in the practice notes. And can I very quickly, Chairman, go to Appendix 7, Annex 7. And that's Para 4. Requirements of signboard validation under the SBCS. Now, first of all, SC01, and then record photos showing the physical condition, fixing details, plans, and structural calculations of the unauthorized signboard. So, if we receive only Form SC01 and not the other papers, then we'll regard the form as a form that is not completed. But then we can't include all these details in the form. We don't want that form to be too long and not user-friendly enough.
And in fact, for the practice note, it is more than what I've indicated. In subsequent analysis, we have asked for more information. Say, for example, the dimensions, photograph. In the future, it will become the annex to the prescribed form. In other words, the information received will be very comprehensive. In the original form, they have to give an undertaking. All right, thank you. My question has been answered. Mr. Wu Chi-wai, if I may ask a simple question. I think you are talking about those occupying an area of 20 meters square for those that are subject to the validation scheme. I want to know whether you are fully aware of those oversized signboards. Are you aware of the locations, and do you already have a timetable to deal with the structural safety of such oversized signboards? Mr. Hui. We have already completed the survey. We understand that there is a large number of unauthorized works. We're now carrying out an analysis. The outcome of the analysis will assist us in prioritizing the UBWs to be sort of acted upon, but we don't yet have a timetable as to when we can commence it and when it will be completed, as it will involve a large amount of resources. But then we do have all the first-hand data, like the dimensions of the signboards. Or rather, we haven't got such information. We've only got the photographs as well as the location of the building. We need to have a very detailed analysis. Mr. Chairman, I just wonder if the department can come up with a rough idea of the timetable. The reality is that for signboard control work, yes, we have got a huge number, 120,000. Now, you are saying that for those that are unsafe, probably by the visual check, you have already covered them. So with the validation scheme in place, there would only be a small number of oversized signboards. So I hope the department can expeditiously come up with a timetable. It's unacceptable to say that there isn't a timetable for you to act on those signboards. Mr. Hui, if I understand Mr. Wu's question, I think at first he was referring to the timetable for all the signboards. I might have misunderstood him. For oversized signboards, starting from a few years ago, we have started to act on them. So for those signboards with dimensions exceeding those subject to the validation scheme, we'll take action. This is an ongoing job, and as a result of a large-scale operation, we can act on those oversized signboards, which are also UBWs. We can also act upon reports if the public tell us that there are dangerous signboards, or the signboards are so large that they are blocking the traffic signs, for example. Depending on the individual circumstances, we'll take action. So for large signboards which are unauthorized works, we've always been acting on them. Do you have the figures? Our target figure is 150 in relation to large-sized signboards. Or 250. So you will take action against 250 large-sized signboards. Yes, please give us the information as to the number of signboards that you have taken action against in the past. All right, for the technical guidelines, we have a number of annexes. Mr. Hui covered a few of them. Well, this is but the draft. But of course, it will still give us an idea that the technical guidelines are very detailed, giving us requirements concerning signboards of various dimensions. So, members, do you think that our worries have been addressed? And I believe that for those applicants under the validation scheme, I think they are professionally qualified to follow the requirements in the scheme. And then they will make a declaration and they will follow the technical details. So they will comply with the technical requirements, and they will also submit the relevant information. All right. Without further ado, I think we can go into the most direct or the most important part of our work, and that is cross-by-cross scrutiny. Shall we adhere to the Chinese version first? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Ms. Chu, please. To implement the validation scheme, the Development Bureau has introduced the Building Minor Works Amendment Regulation 2013 to amend the Building Minor Works Regulation. At the same time, sections 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the Buildings Legislation Amendment Ordinance 2012 will be commenced, and we have a commencement notice. So, first of all, I'd like to talk about the commencement dates of those sections. On the 12th of July 2012, the relevant sections have been approved by the Legis, and they're related to the validation scheme. First of all, Section 3. This is to amend Section 2(3) of the existing legislation. Schedule 8 is being added to the ordinance so that we can amend Schedule 8.
ครับถูกเดี๋ยว中文呢就係大家睇返嗰個第二部分嗰度。好。
Can everybody follow? We are on part 2. By resolution, Schedule 8 can be amended. Schedule 8 has been newly added as a result of the amendment, so as to bring in the signboards. In relation to the validation scheme, we can elaborate on Schedule 8 in a moment. And then, Clause 6 amends Section 38 of the Ordinance. Currently, Section 38 1KE1, 1A, 1B, and 1C are to be added. It means that the Secretary for Development, in relation to the prescribed building or building works, the Secretary may prescribe a date. And if they meet the validation scheme, and if they have to be, and then the Secretary may prescribe the cycle for periodic compliance, and he may also prescribe the details. Clause 7 amends Section 39C so that 39C1 will be repealed. Section 39C1 and 1A will be added. In other words, 39C1 will apply to the home amenity works to which the validation scheme already apply. And then 39C1 1A refers to the latest additions to the validation scheme, namely the signboards. Well, as to the requirements of 39C1, it means that the building authority cannot then, as a result of such signboards, have not been given prior approval, or they have not been carried out in line with the simplified procedures of minor works, issue a notice or order to remove such signboards. The BA may not do so. Section 7 also says that 39C, in relation to subsection 2 and 3, there should be an amendment so as to make it clear, so that we say that the regulations should be replaced by the word minor works regulation. (39C5) will also be amended. 1 will be repealed to be substituted by 1 or 1A. For 39C(5), it says that yes, the BA may not or must not serve an order due to the fact that it hasn't been given prior approval, but then the BA may serve an order due to other reasons. For example, if the signboard has become dangerous, despite it having been validated, the BA may still issue an order. And then 39C(6), for prescribed building and prescribed building works, the definition has been amended. Like for 39C1 and 39C1A, they will deal with building and building works separately. And lastly, Section 8 is to add Schedule 8 to the Ordinance. Schedule 8 is a new schedule, so signboard will be included in the list of prescribed building or building works, so that it is covered by the validation scheme. So that's about the Buildings Legislation Amendment Ordinance 2012. The validation scheme should come into effect on the 2nd of September 2013. Therefore, for the commencement notice, we have also appointed the 2nd of September as the commencement date. So that's in relation to the commencement notice. Do you want me to read it out in its entirety? No, I don't think so. It's rather routine. So members, do you have any questions?
And then I will say something about the amendments to the Building Minor Works Amendment Regulation.
咁呢個修訂呢，就係2013年建築
Building Minor Works Amendment Regulation 2013, and that's made under Section 38 of Cap 123 by the Secretary for Development. First of all, commencement. That's the commencement date of sections 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the amendment and the Amendment Ordinance 2012. In other words, 2nd of September this year. And first of all, Section 62 of the regulation. And that's in relation to 39C. (39C1). applicable to home or household amenity works. Then we will insert 62A in relation to section 39C1A. Requirements for signboards. 62A1. A signboard of the kind specified in Part 3 of Schedule 3 is the prescribed building or building works falling within the definition of prescribed building or building works given by Section 39C6B2 of the Ordinance in relation to Section 39C1A of the Ordinance. In other words, the BA cannot issue an order because there has not been prior approval. But of course, the validation requirements have to be met.
咁62A 2條呢
62A2. For Section 39C1AA of the Ordinance, the date prescribed is 2nd September 2013. In other words, for signboards constructed or completed before 2nd September, they can be for validation. Then 3, for Section 39C2 of the Ordinance, the following person or persons is or are to be appointed to inspect the signboard. 39C2 requires suitable persons to be appointed to inspect and validate the signboard. And we have 2 types of persons who are considered suitable. A signboard falling within the description of an item of minor works under Class 1. If the signboard is a specified construction, then an authorized person has to be appointed. But if the signboard is not a specified construction, an authorized person and a registered structural engineer have to be appointed. And what is meant by specified construction? And that will be explained in 62A6. To put it very simply, the construction is relatively small and the structure less sophisticated. And only an authorized person needs to be appointed. But if it's a larger structure which is structurally more complicated, then in addition to an AP, a registered structural engineer is also to be appointed. And then for a signboard falling within the description of an item of minor works under Class 2 or Class 3, an authorized person, an RSE, a registered inspector, a registered general building contractor, a registered minor works contractor who is registered for that item, or a registered minor works contractor who is registered for the type of minor works under the class that are the minor works described in that item. These are the definitions. Subsection 4. For Section 39C3 of the Ordinance, the person appointed under Section 39C2 of the Ordinance, namely the appointed person, must within 14 days after the completion of the inspection submit to the BA certain information. First of all, a notification in the specified form containing the following information. First of all, the personal particulars and contact information of the person for whom the signboard was erected as provided by that person. And then the person who arranged for the inspection to be carried out has specified the appointed person as the person appointed under Section 39C2 of the Ordinance for the inspection. Next, the appointed person has confirmed the appointment and the date on which the signboard was inspected. And then the appointed person has certified that the signboard was structurally safe in the person's opinion and complied with the ordinance, except Section 14.1 of the ordinance and Regulation 25 of the Building Administration Regulations. So what is Section 14.1? It says that before building works are carried out, prior approval of the BA has to be sought. And Regulation 25 says that after the completion of the works, the BA has to be informed. So all the other regulations have to be complied with, except Section 14.1 of the Ordinance and Regulation 25 of the regulations. And then a photograph and description showing the physical condition of the signboard has or have to be submitted to the BA. So we may be talking about plans, calculations. These are detailed in the technical guidelines. Then subsection 5. For Section 39C1AC of the Ordinance, and it says that the validation requirements have to be met from time to time. And so the requirements in subsection 2, 3 and 4, subsection 2 is about appointing suitable persons, subsection 3 is about submitting appropriate documents, subsection 4 is about carrying out strengthening works in accordance with simplified procedures. And if these requirements are met, and then they need to be complied with again within 5 years after the date. In other words, the validation cycle is 5 years. And then 6, what is meant by a specified construction? It means a construction that satisfies all the criteria under Section 37(4). Are there any examples? Yes, concerning 37(4), the height must not exceed 10 meters, and for any structural part, the span should not exceed 6 meters, and the structural part must be made of wood, reinforced concrete, stone, or concrete. And if there is a foundation, then the loading on the floor must not exceed 3,000 units. And then depth of the foundation, not more than 2 meters from the ground level. And there must not be any change to the structure. So in fact, it's just to lay down the size and the structure of the signboard. And that's why if it's not a specified construction, then an authorized person and an RSE have to be appointed. All right, thank you. I think you can continue. And then we have clause 5, amending Schedule 1. Schedule 1, minor works. And this is related to Section 2 and Section 28, and that's why we'll amend this to read Section 2, Section 28, and Schedule 3. Because there will be some amendments to Schedule 3, and there will be many items mirroring Schedule 1. Right, first of all, an amendment to Schedule 3. We've deleted Section 62 because Schedule 3 is related to Section 62, but now we have new 62A, and so for Schedule 3, we've included signboards in Schedule 3. That's why we now have Sections 62 and 62A instead of Section 62. And then Schedule 3, Part 2. We've added the words relating to Section 39C1 of Ordinance after list of prescribed building or building works. In other words, we are here talking about Section 39C1. In other words, some small-scale household amenity works. But we haven't changed the content. We've retained the 4 items. And then we've inserted Part 3. List of prescribed building or building works relating to Section 39C1A of the Ordinance. And there are 6 items. That's 6 items, including some items on the rooftop, and then projecting signboards, wall signboards, and also signboards above or below canopies. So perhaps we can look at the descriptions. Projected signboards. It depends on whether it's Class 1, Class 2, or Class 3. First of all, 1.20 A, D, E, and F. Must not be made of stone. Display area from 10 to 20 square meters. Then E, projecting from the outer wall for not more than 4.2 meters. Then thickness not more than 600 mm. Then B, minor works 2.18, A, D, E, and F. A, not made of stone. D, area not more than 10 square meters. E, projecting not more than 4.2 meters. F, thickness not more than 600 mm. Para C, 3.16, class 3 minor works, A, D, E, F, G. A, not stone. D, area not more than 1 square meter. E, projecting from the outer wall not more than 1 meter. F, thickness not exceeding 300 mm. G, not more than 6 meters above the ground. And then the second type of signboards, wall signboards. So these have to satisfy paragraphs C, D, and E. C, if there are light display, and then area 5 to 20 square meters. If there aren't any light display systems, then 10 square meters to 40 square meters.
如果佢離地高過6米嘅話咧，
If it is more than 6 meters above ground, it cannot be using stone as the materials. For B, it means that it has to meet the requirements of paragraph C, D, and E of item 2.19 of part 3 of the Schedule 1. If it is a light-emitting one, it can occupy no more than 5 meters square. If it is not, then it cannot occupy more than 10 meters square. And then item E means that if it is more than 6 meters above ground, it cannot be made of stone. For wall signboard, it should meet the requirements in paragraph C and D of item 3.17. Paragraph C, display area no more than 5 meters square. D, cannot be more than 6 meters above ground. Item 3, signboards on the roof of a building. It should meet the requirements of paragraphs A, D, E, F, and G of item 1.21. Paragraph A, not made of stone. Paragraph D, display area more than 20 meters square. Paragraph E, cannot be extending out of a building. F, not more than 600 millimeters in terms of thickness. G, not above ground for more than 6 meters. Item 4. Cannot be more than 6 meters above the rooftop. Item 4. It should meet a number of requirements concerning the outdoor signboards. Item A, paragraphs A, B, C of item 1.23 regarding the thickness, not more than 600 millimeters. C, not more than 6 meters above ground. For item B, paragraphs A, B, C of item 2.21 should be met with. Paragraph A, display area no more than 10 meters square, thickness no more than 600 millimeters, and not more than 2 meters above ground. Item 5, we're talking about outdoor signboard together with a spread footing. It should meet the requirements in paragraphs A, B, C, and D of item 2.22 of part 3 of Schedule 1. Paragraph A says that the display area should be no more than 1 meter square. Paragraph B, thickness no more than 300 mm. Paragraph C, not more than 3 meters above ground. Paragraph D, for the footing, it cannot be more than 500 mm in relation to the excavated depth. Item 6, an unauthorized signboard on or hung underneath the soffit of a balcony or canopy other than an cantilevered slab, and they should fit the requirements in paragraphs A, B, C, D, and E of item 2.20 of part 3 of Schedule 1. Paragraph A, it should not be made of stone. Paragraph B, display area not more than 2 meters square. Paragraph C, not extending out of the balcony or canopy. Paragraph D, the height itself should not be more than 600 mm. Paragraph E, thickness of the signboard should not be exceeding 100 mm. That's it for Building Minor Works Amendment Regulation 2013. Members, any questions? Legal advisor? Any comments? Not anything to add. Sit Ho. A word about the preparation of documents. I think usually it's our own legal advisor that would prepare the marked up copy. But then, for Part 3, in relation to the various items and then for the various paragraphs in the schedule, I think the legal advisor can save a lot of our time if you can copy the information for us as well, like the dimensions that are not to be exceeded. I think it's very simple, but then if our colleagues can do something more and produce the cross-references to us, then we could have completed Part 3 much earlier. I'm grateful to the DEVB for giving us all the details. Yes, I think it's a good idea. It's not that easy to digest the information because it contains a lot of technical details. So for the wording of the various provisions, do we have any comments? If not, then if I may sort of follow up on an earlier point, though we haven't actually received a specific answer. We are also concerned about light pollution. Within the validation scheme, I want to know, probably you don't have a very stringent requirement, but at least do have some advice for the signboard owner. Who can take this question? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, for the validation scheme, it will be difficult to deal with this issue because it hasn't got a direct relationship with the building ordinance. But then, as mentioned last time, the Environment Bureau has got some guidelines, so perhaps we can take up this matter with the Environment Bureau to see what can be done to have some improvements. Yes, in future, if you have certain environmental initiatives, we can then seek further amendments without affecting the principal ordinance. Ms. Ho. Well, during the last term, we were told that even for indoor lighting, we had to work through the buildings ordinance, and then for outdoor lighting, if we would like to have the lights turned off after 12 midnight, we were told that we should work through the buildings ordinance. So I hope the two bureaus would work closely. We very much want to have regulations over light pollution. So I'm sure signboards will be included, and there would also be lighting for the purpose of security. I hope departments and bureaus won't adopt a compartmentalized mentality. You need to coordinate among themselves, and I hope the bureau will get prepared. Yes, I think once there is a consensus in the society, then certainly all the relevant legislation will be amended. Now, it is a matter of declaring the existing unauthorized signboards, so perhaps we cannot include this area of concern to the bill. Mr. Chairman, last time we said that we had a lot of spotlights lighting up the signboards. Yes, we do have signboards so that the buildings are fully lit up at night, so that it's the same as daytime. Well, I think in Ewell Street we have a number of huge signboards advertising cosmetics and watches. Yes, for the signboard, I know what we're talking about, the large surface area. But what about the spotlights? Will they be counted as part of the signboard, or will they be regarded as something separate? Mr. Chung. Thank you, Ms. Ho, for her question. When we approve the application, we approve the signboards. My experience is that usually when they submit a plan, they will say that they have a support frame to illuminate the signboard. But then there's part of the signboard, so we don't usually ask for information. And then they need to have a power source, and then it will be the MSD which will oversee that, Mr. Chairman. Of course, the strength of the illumination is not a matter for the BD, but what about the supporting frame? Yes, the supporting frame is within our remit. What I was saying was that we gave approval to the support frame. On the plan, probably they will tell us that there will be some lighting to be attached to the support frame, or sometimes they don't even include that piece of information. As I have said, the lights themselves are not building works, so they may not appear in the prescribed form. I think Ms. Ho is concerned about the supporting frame, like the drying racks, the air conditioner support frame. You do have requirements. Now, if the signboard has got a support frame for the lights, and if they include such information when they apply for it, you will vet it, right? I want to know whether they have to cover this as part of the prescribed information. Say, for example, if they don't tell you that there is a support frame to install the lights, would it be regarded as unauthorized? Yes, indeed. Well, when we go to check for compliance with the plans, if they do not appear on the plans, then we will find that it is not complying and we won't give approval. If they fix it afterwards, then it is a separate case. If the lights have got a support frame, they will be regarded as UBW, provided that it doesn't appear on the plan approved. If it doesn't appear on the plan, and we don't see it when we go to inspect it, then we will say yes. But if we see a support frame for the lights, we will order it to be removed. But if it is to be added afterwards, just like the UBWs added afterwards, we can only act upon complaint or when it is known to us. As Ms. Ho has said, the support frame may extend extensively. If it is just part of the signboard, it will be fine with us because a signboard has to be lit. But I think Ms. Ho is referring to those with very long extensions. Ms. Ho. Now, say for example, this is a signboard, a wall signboard, but it's as large as a small size flat, and then at night they need the lighting to lit up the signboard. And sometimes you don't just have spotlights at the bottom. They may have spotlights all around, and it will be quite heavy. It will be quite heavy. So when you approve the signboard, do you approve the signboard together with the lights, or do you approve the signboard and then the lights separately as if they are two items?
I hope and I do believe that light pollution will be regulated. So the lights do light up these very big signboards at night. So I just want to know whether you deal with the lights and the signboard separately. Now, for example, in future, we may need to consider how many lights will be required or will be permitted for a signboard of a particular size. Now, is it that when the signboard is, or if the signboard is illuminated, then the frame containing the lighting will also be or form part of the application for the signboard? Now, I think there are two ways to install the lights, and some are wall lights. And so there can be another independent structure for the lights, or another frame for the lights. But of course, there are also lights attached to the signboard, but those lights are smaller ones. Of course, when there are lights, we will ask for details, but usually the details of the lights will not be included in the plan. We just we look at the signboard. Now, if there are architectural features, for example, some temporary advertisements, and if lights are to be retrofitted, then these will be installed at a later stage. So if the lights and the signboard, I mean, if they two come in separately, we deal with them separately. But even if they are, or if they come to you separately, if there is anything unlawful, you enforce the law, right? I just hope that the department can be prepared for future regulatory control over light pollution. All right, I think we've already completed clause by clause scrutiny. I don't think we need to discuss the English version, right? Now, Chairman, usually the legal advisor will tell us whether the both versions are in order. All right, then I think we've basically completed our work. Anything else? We will submit a report to House Committee on the 5th of July because the deadline for scrutiny is 17th of July. And the deadline for moving amendments, 10th of July. 5 working days are required. And I don't think we really need another meeting. So I will give a report to House Committee on the 5th of July. So thank you very much, members, and also the legal advisor.